Bring in Guad Venegas in Eagle Pass, Texas. Bring us up to speed as to what we're learning tonight and why this crisis has intensified now where you are this week, Guad.
Hallie, the number of migrants arriving daily here has increased tremendously. I'm actually right in front of what's makeshift processing centers. These are all federal authorities. You've got members of Customs and Border Protection, also some officers from Border Patrol, and a line of migrants. This is a group of migrants that arrived earlier today. Just 20 minutes ago, the crowd was 4 times as big. So they get in a line. It looks like they're being processed, and then from here they're taken to what's called a processing center, where then they request asylum. And if they're allowed to remain in the United States while seeking asylum, then they go to other cities. But this is where it all begins. Now, you just mentioned they closed down some of the international bridges. This is one of them, by the way. And also some of the bridges that are used for trains have been shut down. Now, what this does is it allows federal resources, a lot of these officers, to focus their efforts on this. This is one of the buses that is used to transport the migrants, by the way. So a lot of these migrants that are lined up behind me will get on this bus that will take them to that processing centers to continue. Now, I'm going to walk over this side to show you where the river's at. You just mentioned how dangerous this river can be. We've reported 2 different deaths in the last 2 days, including a minor. There's the river. And you know, this river, depending on what time of the day a migrant will cross it, can be more or less dangerous. But of course, these currents can be deadly. Now, I just showed you, Hallie, on this side, the federal officers that do the processing. But over on this side, those are state troopers. So you've got the federal officers enforcing what they can when it comes to the federal laws and doing the processing. But then you've got the state troopers that Greg Abbott has deployed over on this side with members of the National Guard installing even more wire today. A lot of these migrants pulled the wire over on the right side. They were able to pull it up and come under it. A large group of them, including some of the ones you saw here, they didn't cut it, but they did one under it. And right after, members of the National Guard came and installed even more wire. So that's why Greg Abbott is upset, because he says that they're trying to protect the border, but then he says that he's accusing members, federal officers, of cutting that wire. What we saw today is that the wire was pulled. So this is the interaction here at the border. Again, you've got the federal officers doing what they can to process the migrants, and the Texas State Department of Public Safety here patrolling all along the border in Texas, Hallie.
So what's next, Guad? In other words, when might this sort of intensity, the intensity of this moment, start to abate?
Well, Hallie, there's a large number of migrants traveling through Mexico. In fact, the largest freight train company in Mexico also halted operations because they said they saw an unprecedented number of migrants jumping on the trains in Mexico, riding those north. We also have numbers from the United Nations in Central America saying that so far this year, they've already seen the largest number ever of crossings through the jungle in Panama. So that means that we've got tens of thousands, perhaps more, of migrants making their way north, and this is part of that wave. A lot of these migrants that are coming here, crossing the border today, in fact, I can see some groups over on the other side getting off of some vehicles along with some Mexican officers over there. A lot of these groups, I'm told by our colleagues in Telemundo south of the border, they rode the train as far as they could, and then they walked the rest of the way. Many of them are still making their way, and it's every day that they're arriving, Hallie. Now, because they walk, it's really hot during the day, so it's at night that we expect larger groups to come in that are still making their way through Central America, through Mexico. So this is part of a problem that will continue, part of a mass migration that has a lot more numbers coming in, Hallie.
Guad Venegas live for us there in Eagle Pass, Texas. Guad, again, covering this border story for us. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.